Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? It's a fine, bright morning today. I got a lot of questions over the last couple months of how to open up a brokerage account. All right, I understand it seems super intimidating, but let me tell you, it takes about 15 or 20 minutes. It's probably one of the easiest things you could ever do. So let's get into it. Again, good morning, everybody. Got my coffee here, and let's get into it. So, start off, we got about two different types of accounts that you can open. There's a brokerage account that you can buy and sell stocks at will, and when you do that, you have to pay taxes on it. If you're saving for retirement, I would move you more towards a Roth IRA. With the Roth IRA, you basically put money in the account and you can't touch it until you're about 59 and a half, or circumstantial things happen in your life, which is, I think, a first home time buyer. You can take out about 10 grand out of there, or you die, basically. And your beneficiary gets that. So just to clear that up, Roth IRA is for like retirement, and then a brokerage account is something that you can actively manage or do something, daily, and you can take the money in and out at will. But you do have to pay taxes on it. So, having said that, between the brokerage account and a Roth IRA, there's two different systems that you can ultimately, start an account with. There are the traditional online banking accounts for like maybe E-Trade, Fidelity, Scottrade is one of them, Ameritrade. And what happens is, in each one of those accounts, every time you make a transaction, you might have to pay a fee in order to buy or sell those stocks. I do know a lot of them are $0 up front. There's no minimal amount of money that you need in your account. They're all free to open. It's basically like opening up another checking or savings account with like a bank, but you're just doing it online. Again, very simple. So that's the traditional method. And then recently, in the last couple years, we have an app-based system, which is actually really great. So I think three apps really come out to me for really helping people take the hassle out of investing and the questions. So I'll kind of get into that in a second. So Robinhood would be the first one. Again, very simple, free to open. I do believe that they are $0 to make trades in and out. And then in each one of these apps, like Robinhood, you can open either a brokerage account or a Roth IRA. When you're signing up for the account, it's going to ask you that question. And I do believe that you can actually open both of them. So it's, again, free, and it takes a lot of the hassle out of the trading costs. Then for the second one, Acorns. Again, another great one. It's mutual fund based, which means that when you put money in your account, it's going to take that money and it's going to take a percentage out and put it towards each one of these companies. So let's say you put $100 in your account. It's going to put 10% towards one company, 20% towards another, and it's going to do that until it uses all $100 that you put in your account. But the best thing about it is that it does it for you. So it takes the questioning out of what you have to do and when, and it's easy to see the money just constantly rack up over time as long as you're consistent with your contributions. Then the last app-based system I want to talk about is Stash. All right. Now, Stash, like Acorns, you do have to have a subscription. I believe it's $1, $5, or $9. Don't quote me on that, but it's very close to that you maintain per month. But with Stash, when you put money in your account, you can do the same thing as Acorns, and you can buy mutual funds and get your money divided, and again, take the questionable actions out of putting money in your account. But you can also buy part of stocks. So, for example, I don't know what it is today. I'm looking on my computer right now. Amazon, right? Amazon is a huge company, right? Their stock costs about $3,500 per stock. That's crazy. So, not a lot of people have just $3,500 that we could just throw in nowhere, right? But Stash lets you take whatever money you do have, and it lets you just buy a portion of it. It lets you buy that a certain percentage of one stock. I think that's the one thing that comes out at Stash ahead of the other players. Even for a subscription fee of $1, $3, or $9 a month. Of course, the $9 one is like a premium version, which probably most people that want to start an account probably isn't going to look forward to that anyways. But, Stash lets you buy whatever you want at this point. No matter how expensive it is, it lets you buy that percentage. So if you like, for example, Apple, and you don't have $250 to put in Apple every couple weeks, then you could just buy a percentage, like half a percentage of a stock of Apple, half of the amount of the Apple stock. And I think that, again, I think it's huge, and you should test the waters with buying individual stocks. You don't have to put thousands and thousands of dollars into it immediately. You can test the waters with 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. It's okay. And you can watch it as you go, and when you get more comfortable, you could put more in. So it gives you that power to do what you want when you want. So those are the two kinds of differences of the traditional versus app-based. I think if you're starting out, definitely go the app-based route. It's just much simpler. So having said that, when you sign up for your account, which actually I just signed up for a Stash account just to verify how to do it. Very simple information that you're going to need. Your name, your current job history, how much income you make per year. You're going to need your social security number. For example, mine is and a Batman symbol. And so on top of that, you'll also need a beneficiary. So a beneficiary is someone that if something happens to you, your beneficiary that you name gets everything in your account. I believe that you can skip it initially, but it is a pretty important piece of information to put in there eventually. Usually your significant other, could be a sibling, your parents, whatever you want to do. But again, it's important to update that information eventually. So on top of that, I think the only other piece of information I had to have was your routing and account number for your current bank account. You can only do direct deposit into the app-based systems as the traditional systems online as well. You can set it up with your work account to where you can put a percentage amount of your check into this account without you even getting it. I would definitely suggest that, because the second you don't see that money, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You have no worry about it being gone because you don't even recognize that it's gone. And on top of that, you just keep adding more money to your account every paycheck. And it's great to open up that app, take a look at it once a month, and just see the difference from month to month on how much it actually grows. It's not about, it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is something you do for years. This is not something you do from month to month. hopefully by the magic of television or screen share something. I am hoping that I can get this on screen here, but I'm going to show you guys. Again, that's basically setting up a brokerage account. There's really not much to it. Again, it takes about 15 or 20 minutes to set up as long as you have the information with you. The decision you make today will, ultimately tell if you have a couple $1,000,000 in 20, 30, 40 years. You can retire at 60 with $50 million for just doing something as low as like $150 a month. If you need help with your budgeting, I'm sure I'll put out another video for that. Before I leave, I think I just want to go over one thing with everybody to show them the impact of saving month to month. So, the numbers I came up with here is basically 40-year time span, okay? So we got 40 years, and let's say you have $200 a month that you put away in this account. In whatever account that you choose. You're going to put $200 away every month for 40 years. And basically, if you were to just put that in a savings account in a bank, right, every month, $200, you have about $100,000 in 40 years. $100,000. That is a huge lump of money, right? You can buy a lot of stuff with $100,000. But what happens is when you put it in the market and you let it sit there, and you get something called compound interest. So every year, the market has an average of an increase of 10% a year. Over the last 50 years, the average is 10%. And the difference of that is for 40 years, you put $200 away in your app-based account or your traditional bank account online. You're putting the same amount of money in an account, and what happens is that compound interest every year increases it by 10%. So after 40 years, instead of having $100,000 with a traditional savings account in your brokerage account or your Roth IRA, you'll have about a little over $1 million. You literally just 10x your money by putting the same amount of money in there, but you just put it in a different account. Very simple, but that is the biggest impact you can have on your future, is if you just understand of putting money away and budgeting, or putting money in your account and really believing in the process, as long as you're consistent. So, with that, the other thing I want to talk about is the compound interest that you guys get yearly. 10% is the average, but some years are better, some years are a little bit worse. But when you start to get familiar with the market and you start to buy and sell by yourself, and you start to do your own thing instead of investing in mutual funds, for that matter, 40 years from now, again, $200 a month, let's say that you get really good at this over the next couple years, and you get to a return rate of 30%. Now, if you beat that average of the original average of 10%, you are fantastic. You are the best of the best. And let's just say you do this for every year, 30% return every year. That is crazy. Now, with 10%, you made about $1 million after 40 years. At 30%, you're leaving with about $300 million. Now, $1 million will get you a lot, but $300 million will get you even more. And again, you can retire at whatever the heck age you are in 40 years, and you can literally coast for the rest of your life and not have to do a single thing. If you got children, grandchildren, you're going to spoil them. You got a lot of money left. But, on that note, I hope this video helps. You guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, or, I believe my email was shown on the screen. Go ahead, email me if you have any other questions. Thanks. I appreciate it. And like and subscribe. It would really help the algorithm on YouTube. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later.